choose love. Choose love. Always choose love.
So if you had a conflict with somebody and you say that to yourself, how does it change the conflict or how you feel?
It doesn't necessarily, because I do believe in vibrations, and it is a scientific thing too. I think it raises my vibration coming from love, right? When I think of Michelle Obama, when she said, when they go low, we go high, right? So staying high.
Okay.
And maybe it's not going, so let's say it's a disagreement with someone. Maybe they're still going to be upset with me, but at least I know that I chose love. Hey everybody, welcome to Feminine Warrior, where we share thoughts, ideas, and meaningful conversations. And sometimes it's just my gorgeous co-host, MT, and I, and we just talk about what we think and what we feel.
And other times, my amazing co-host, Helen, and I welcome inspiring guests. No matter how we do it, we're here because we genuinely care, and we hope that these conversations can inspire some positive change in your life and kickstart your journey.
All right, you ready to do this?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Okay, let's get to the show. We are so excited to have you here with us today, and we feel so privileged and honored that we get to share this space with you. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for listening. And today's episode, it's a special episode for us because, MT, I feel like this is a new beginning for us.
It is. And it's like, I'm so excited about this episode because today you're going to hear us share the expansion we have made in our podcast up to now, our thoughts on manifestation, which is a key word that we've been hearing everywhere. We both feel a bit insecure when it comes to this podcast. I have a lot. What our new format will be like and what our vision is, and the importance of coming from a place of love in all we do. So I think let's just get this show on and just let's talk about all the things that you and I wanted to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what we should share with people first is just that this new beginning, because I think we've done 5 episodes together.
Yeah. All different weeks.
All different weeks. We've done 5 episodes and we made the decision, as you can see, if you are watching us, that we're doing video.
Yeah.
So we're doing video. We're venturing into TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then we also have the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've been thinking about it. You've had your business, La Closet, for 20 years?
No, 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Okay. But I've been shooting as a photographer for over 30 years. Yeah. And I even remember when I started shooting, it takes a while to find your style.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a while to find your groove and how you want to present yourself and what message that you want to put out there.
It's trial and error.
It's trial and error.
100%, yeah.
And I feel like the first 5 episodes with you and I, it's been sort of, what do we want to do? How do we want to do this? What's our voice? And part of that was making the decision that we have like a new producer, a new studio, where we can sort of feel like it's more expansive for what we want to create with the show.
Yeah, exactly. And the space is big. Like my energy definitely comes from the space I'm in.
Yeah.
And it feels great in here. It just feels more professional.
Yeah.
So we got to take this seriously, more seriously. But it all kind of came together.
It did.
Yeah.
And don't you also think too, like one of the things is that, video is huge.
Yeah.
Right? So even when you're promoting it on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, like I listen to podcasts when I'm driving or when I'm running or when I'm walking or cooking. I don't watch YouTube a lot, but I know a lot of people do. But I also do love when I scroll through Reels and I see sort of the interaction with people. Like it makes it more organic or something.
And for me, I do have a bit of feeling when it comes to the video, because sometimes I just want to come from a workout, my hair is back, and I don't really want to try to
do that though.
I know I will, but then again, that's my expectation that I have to kind of look put together. But you know what? Today's different. We're introducing ourselves, but I am definitely more comfortable, organic, hair ponytail, sometimes in my workout stuff.
Yeah. But I think though, first of all, your bad day is most people's good day. And also I think that that's what makes it, when I look at podcasts that I like or people that I admire, is that there's something authentic about it. And I
Yeah.
really love that. So if we want to
It's
do
more
the
me.
show in sweats and wearing a baseball cap, so what?
But then the more we are ourselves, the more the podcast will show that
I
have
agree.
that energy,
I agree.
right? So it's not
Yeah.
like so orchestrated or so scripted.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Even though we do have a script.
I know. Well, yeah, these are my cheat notes. Yeah. Well, even,
But
yeah.
yeah. So I thought a great place to start would be manifestation,
Love it.
because I think that we both kind of
Oh,
manifested
yeah. It's
this.
a big,
And I am going to look at my notes for this part, because I was listening to an episode of Mel Robbins' podcast, and I know that you really like her a
I
lot.
love
You
her.
love her.
Love her.
And she was speaking with Dr. Jim Doughty, who is a neurosurgeon and a neuroscientist and an expert on manifestation. And I don't know if you've listened to the episode yet.
Half of it.
Half of it. If people who are listening to us or watching us, just check out this episode. It is so beautiful. He is so beautiful because he's so authentic, and obviously he's a neuroscientist. But it got me thinking about how we manifest, and what he talks about, that it's about really being in alignment with your desires and your dreams. And I just thought we could start with that, because this podcast is something I know for me personally, when we're here right now, like coming here, when we're preparing thing and when we're choosing guests, I light up inside. I'm going to get teary-eyed, but there's something like I just get this spark and this excitement. And I remember having that when I first started shooting, when I had kids, when I met my husband. But it's almost like the universe sort of going like, yes, like keep going, keep heading in this direction.
Well, so manifesting to me,
a
lot of it has to do with writing, right? So you know me, like I love to get up and I have to write in my journal, but I would write the same things sometimes over and over again, day after day. And I would write a list of things and how I see my life. And I always thought to myself, and I wrote it down, TV or podcast. And that was from maybe 6 years ago. And it would be carried over to the next day. And talking to you about it, it happened. You invited me on to be a co-host. And that's another powerful tool that I think is manifesting for me.
Yes,
is
absolutely.
Writing.
So this guy, when you listen to his podcast, I don't know how far you got, Dr. I think it's Doughty or Dode. Sorry if I butchered that. But he talks about that you sort of get in a very quiet space and you just sort of center yourself, and then you journal. You write down what it is that you want.
Because you're reinforcing your thoughts.
It. And also that pen to paper connection. And then you read it to yourself, then you say it out loud, and then you visualize it. And his thing is like, there's no woo-woo to this. It's actually a science. I wouldn't mind if there was a little more woo-woo to it.
That's true. Yeah, we would.
But it's a science.
Yeah, but you have to sit in it. So, and again, I'm going to talk about a personal experience. Is that like I would go through the ritual of writing and saying, this is where I want my life to be, et cetera, et cetera. And I would do it for years and years and years. But it never became as powerful as it was maybe 4 to 5 years ago, when I would sit in it and do it. But I actually was in it. So I would write it, and the writing and the visualization came hand in hand. So it was almost like in a trance doing it. So when I say it, like people say, how do you journal? Like, you have to kind of sit in it and be in it, because it's like an outer body experience where you feel that, okay, it's powerful tool now.
It is.
Versus just doing the act of, okay, if I write and I'm going to visualize it, okay, I'm manifesting, it's going to happen. It's not like that.
And that's the thing, you have to practice. Like it's like anything, when you work out, when you do anything, like to get stronger and to make that connection, to really sort of integrate it into your life is practice.
Exactly. And the Manifestation Babe is another person I follow. She's amazing. And she mentioned at one point that rather than manifesting, okay, I want the house in Bahamas, I want this car, you actually have to manifest the steps to get to that point. So not manifesting, okay, so getting the car that I want, it's going to make me have to work maybe 20 more hours. I'm going to maybe sleep less or give up a few workouts. You got to be that detailed and look at the negative, not, I wouldn't say negative, but some of the hurdles that you'll have to encounter to get to that final goal rather than just saying that's what I want.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also something too that what over the years of reading things is that what is it that car, that house, that money, what is it that it gives you? And really sort of peeling back the layers. So it gives me freedom. Freedom from what? I don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. So getting to the root cause, because a lot of times that we can get that car, we can get that relationship, but we still aren't satisfied, or there's still this loneliness. We think that this thing will make everything better. So understanding what is that thing,
Yeah.
and really taking the time and go. So a lot of people that they want more money. And when you look at, statistically, a lot of people who win $1 million, they lose it within 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, what is it that money is bringing you? It's bringing you peace. It's bringing you security. So can you also get to that place within yourself and be that now, which helps to attract that too?
So would it help then, rather than saying like more money as my goal in manifesting, if you're focused on, I want peace and calm and no less stress with paying my bills.
Yeah.
Breaking it down like that, that will
Freedom.
lead to
Yes.
the final outcome of more money.
Yeah. And taking the time to do
Yeah.
those exercises, like taking the time to say, what does having more
Yeah.
money do?
Yeah. 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 It can buy me a bit more of my clothes that I love, but but it's just, but it's again, so what does that mean to you, the more money? So I think maybe that's a part of the tools that we need to kind of work on.
Which is still freedom, right? And even if it's that I want more money so I can travel or I can buy more clothes, that's okay too. But it's like being honest with it with yourself, right? So that way you really get to it. And then I believe that that's how we can manifest things even more. Because if you don't believe, if you're like, oh yeah, I want more money so I can give it to charity. Like if that's not true, then it's not going to happen, I think, right? So getting really clear is, I think, a key step to it.
So I had an aha moment in one of my manifesting periods.
So can I interrupt you for 1 second? So your manifesting period, which was 4 or 5 years ago.
I would say the deepest was 4 or 5 years
But that was also, you were almost brought to your knees. You were in,
that was I would say that was probably my lowest of lows.
Yeah.
I had lows because of, my kids were upset with the separation.
Yeah.
But I kind of glided through that and kind of helped. But the lowest of lows is because it's the first time everything came up that I never dealt with.
Yes.
And I had to sit in it, and alone, meaning not that I was lonely, but I was by myself in my home with my dog, and I would just sit there for hours and strip these feelings apart.
Yeah.
So for me, it came, like you said, in my lowest of lows.
Yeah.
And that being that I just, I was dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
And then loss of a relationship at that point was a big thing for me. So I would kind of write out what was important for me in a relationship. And I would do it again the next day, And after months of this one aspect of my pie, you have a pie.
Yes.
I told you that, right?
Yeah.
And I have a pie that's my children, my career, my health, whatever. Relationship was one piece. And after taking this course on relationships online, Mark Groves, which I will manifest now that I'll love him to be a guest on our show.
Put it out there.
Yeah. I remember doing that writing and really visualizing it. And then I got up from my chair that I always sit in and walked to my kitchen counter. I lit my sage and said, kind of threw the smoke up to the universe saying, okay, I'm ready. Just show me I'm here. But I kind of did it, and I was a bit like I said, trance-like.
Yeah.
And within 15 minutes later, the opportunity came.
Mm.
And that for me was like, okay,
Yeah.
my belief is real.
Well, and I want to circle back to the reason that I asked you it was your lowest time, because I find that when we go through challenging times, a lot of the times we want to avoid them
Yeah.
and we don't want to go through
Right?
them.
Yeah.
But it's in those times when we can, which what you beautifully did is you
Yeah.
surrender to
Right.
it,
Yeah.
is when the change starts to happen and the lessons that we start to learn our lessons.
Right.
And why this is like, it's not, that expression, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us.
Yeah.
And I really believe that. Like for me, if I go through challenging times, I just go, okay, universe, God, whatever it is, why is this happening? What am I to learn here? What do I need to know? Maybe where are we off alignment? Are we not being truthful to ourselves or to others? And it's a time of growth.
Yeah.
And I feel that when we can make that flip, we can transcend it too. So instead of it looking as like this big bad thing, it's like, no, this is hard, but I can do this.
It's uncomfortable.
It is.
Right? It's uncomfortable.
But when you can stay in the uncomfortable, that's when the magic happens,
Exactly,
what you experience.
right? So you want to be busy, right? You want to be busy, you want to avoid it.
Yeah.
You want to, dive into work, go out with your friends, work out more. And you're just running yourself on a wheel.
Yeah.
And that's sitting, and it's hard.
It's really
so hard. And sometimes I would lie in bed thinking, and I would think, okay, my God or wherever what I believe in is covering me with a blanket and is protecting me, and it's all going to be okay.
Yes.
And what stuck with me, that my girlfriend Melissa, who I love, thank you for these words on my kitchen counter, said to me, "You are exactly where you need to be to get to where you want to go."
Yeah.
So the lowest of lows is great because it's going to take you where you need to be.
Yeah.
And I say that to myself all the time.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. So with us manifesting this podcast and doing this, are there areas that you feel insecure or like a little sticky for you at all?
Let me ask you that first.
Okay.
Okay, I do because
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I think my biggest thing, just when I was growing up, I was like that fairy child. Like I was out and I would talk to plants and animals and still do. And
just like you dance by yourself.
Just like I dance by myself. But I was the dreamer, right? And I was the youngest of my brothers. And I had dyslexia. They didn't discover that till I was a little bit older. And so back then, they didn't have sort of the resources that they have now. So I was sent to like a vocational school where you learn a trade because you're not going to be able to go to university or college. And so I never felt smart. My brother David was brilliant, very, very smart. And so then I also, being tall and gangly and blonde, like it was like the ditzy blonde. So I think my fear with this show, and one of my fears in life is not coming across as being smart. And I know emotionally, like I know my EQ, I believe, is like off the charts.
Like I look at you with your scripts and everything, like you're ahead of the game. It's like, wow, she's brilliant.
But it's something like, I don't have a huge vocabulary to use big words. And I often, like my boys and my husband laugh because I make up words and they'll go, what is that word? And I'm like, I don't know. I do the same thing with songs. If I'm singing and I forget, I just make up the lyrics myself. But I think that's my biggest fear. And, we have that gentleman, that mathematician who's going to be coming on. He's a professor at University of Toronto. And I'm just like, oh my God, But what I'm realizing is like, it's okay. Just be authentic. And if you don't understand something, ask. And if you say the wrong word, so what, right?
And the one thing with podcasts, you don't need to have a brain to pull up. Well, stats are always helpful to back us up. But it comes from the heart or a topic that we both are passionate about.
Yeah.
There's no A+ or B- to those conversations.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just,
But when you listen to like Brene Brown,
okay.
when
Yeah,
you
well,
listen to Mel Robbins or even Joe Rogan, like they're
they're quick,
quick.
but we will get there.
Yeah.
I believe we will
Well, and I've
because,
got you,
yeah, oh,
right? And
geez.
that's a beautiful thing too,
Yeah,
is
right?
knowing that we have each other's back. Because
Exactly.
you're like you were a nurse, right? And
I
you
was.
read all the time, and so you're very, very smart.
Well, I don't know about that. Well, okay. Thank you for that.
You're
And I'm
welcome.
going to take a thanks and not make up an
Yeah.
excuse for that.
Okay.
And for me, I look at you as brilliant because my insecurity is technology,
Yeah.
social media, and I'm just, yeah, I'm not well versed in it.
Yeah.
And all the computer stuff. I have an iPad. I don't even have a laptop, which I'm going to get one for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to dive into that. So I look at you and what you do, what you created, our logo and everything is like, wow, like how does she do that?
Mm.
So that is my insecurity because in order for us to feel balanced as a partnership in this,
Yes.
I need to be able to bring some more of that to the table because I want to.
Yeah.
You know, make me feel that way, but I
Yeah.
think it's something that will make me feel good and empowered.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's, I mean, first of all, I can teach you.
Okay.
And our lovely new producer can
Yeah.
teach you,
Thank
Chris.
God. Yeah.
But I also think too that it's I used to have assistants when I first started shooting, and they would set up stuff for me, or like when I went from film to digital, I was just like, oh my God. And I was so scared because
You were fear,
it was like
right?
speaking
Yeah.
another language to me. And, so I had to learn how to do it. And sometimes I'm not the most patient, like waiting for people for things.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to, let's say, call a designer and say, hey, could you do this graphic? They go, yeah, I'll get it to you in a week. I'm
Oh,
like,
they
a
like
week,
done. Yeah.
right? I need it done. So, and YouTube, I
Yeah.
just go on to YouTube and I
Yeah.
figure it out. And also having
So can you look up
kids.
YouTube, how to set up YouTube?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I did. And even like
Yeah.
our producer was saying, you have to create a thumbnail. And I'm like,
Like,
what's a
what's
thumbnail?
that?
So I
It's like-
went online, and then it's like all these like videos
Yeah.
showing you how to create a thumbnail. So I find
Yeah.
that I feel that empowering.
And that's why it's the word great isn't great enough. To have a partnership, like to work
Mhm.
together with somebody that you can help each other, feed off each other. Your weaknesses are my strengths. My weaknesses are your
Synergy.
strengths. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it makes me want to learn more about
Yeah.
it because, like I said, it'll empower me. It makes me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you were so cute the other night. You sent me a video. You sent me a video. I think it was of Mel
Which one?
Robbins. We keep
Oh, yeah.
saying Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
Where you're like going, I like how it has the closed caption on it.
And then it
And,
took 2 minutes.
and then
You sent
earlier
it to-
that day, you had sent me a video of yourself. And so I took it and I put it on Instagram and did it. And I took my son's camera and filmed it and sent it to you. And you're like, oh my God, you're brilliant. And I'm like, no, it's not that.
It's like, how did you do that so fast?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, even me taking the video of myself took me like 10 takes. It's like, I don't like this one. I don't like this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'll get there.
It's almost like that expression, you need to step out of your way.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like I
Yeah.
find that too. Sometimes is that I can get very stuck and just think, you know what, Helen, just step out of your way. You're making this way more complicated than
And
it
what I
needs to be.
find that I need to then reprioritize is that I'm out of the house a lot
Yeah.
with business, and I want to change that. I want to be home more because I think then I have the luxury of time to just sit there and research it and just kind of put practice
Yeah.
to fruition.
Yep.
And that's where I need to that comes with my whole reorganization of where I want to make unsticky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm spending a bit more time on Feminine Warrior than I probably should, doing other things.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I realized today was sort of set a time, so Helen, how about from 9:30 to 10:30, it's Feminine Warrior, and then after that, you do your photography work
Yeah.
because that's what pays the bills
Exactly,
too,
right? Yeah.
right? And sort of have it that every day you spend at least an hour doing it.
Yeah.
But part of it is that I love it. I get so
right?
excited
So
and I want to do
Thank
it
you.
more.
And that's why, so Wednesdays is a day that we kind of really
Yeah.
put aside. So I try to make Wednesdays the day too that I kind of make it my podcast
Yeah.
day. So I use the morning. I had a client today, but I'd like the morning to kind of review our notes, do some more research. Monday, we have our check-in meetings.
Yeah.
But I'd like to dedicate the Wednesday to really use that time. Because, I get up early, so I have a lot of time to be able to do that.
Yeah. You're like me.
Yeah.
We're early risers. Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Except for this morning.
I know you slept in.
Oh my gosh.
Which is so
okay,
funny.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have another question for you.
Okay.
I have a mantra that I say for myself and I try to live by. And I definitely fall short of it sometimes, especially when I'm driving. And I wanted to share this with you because for me, and I always say it to my boys, it's like about always come from love, always come from a place of love.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really important because I also believe that it's really important to be of service. And sometimes we think being of service is, giving money or charities, which absolutely that is part of it. But I think being of service is also being kind to people, smiling at people, saying thank you, holding the door for someone. And when I get frustrated or if I have conflict, I'm always like, choose love, always choose love.
So if you had a conflict with somebody and you say that to yourself, how does it change the conflict or how you feel?
It doesn't necessarily, because I think I do believe in vibrations and it is a scientific thing too. I think it raises my vibration coming from love, right? When I think of Michelle Obama, when she said, when they go low, we go high, right? So staying high.
Okay.
And maybe it's not going, so let's say it's a disagreement with someone. Maybe they're still going to be upset with me, but at least I know that I chose love. And at least I know that I came from that place and I can live with that with myself.
So
But
you
if
chose love in your mind, saying, okay, I'm
in my mind, in my heart, and in my
Okay,
soul.
God, yeah.
Right? So let's say
Yeah.
if you and I had a conflict and I was to say, MT, I'm really sorry that you're upset. I'm sorry that I hurt you. What can I do? Blah, blah, blah. But if you still chose to be like, you screwed up, blah, 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 blah,
What
blah.
about this grudge, though? A lot of people have grudges.
But because they're holding on to
Exactly.
negativity.
Yeah.
They're holding on to anger, which is not love.
And they think that, but people think a grudge gives them power. No, but they think that, thinking if I'm going to hold a grudge, that I have power over that person. But it's actually the reverse.
The reverse.
Yeah.
And and my mom, when we were growing up, my mom and dad divorced, and my dad remarried, and my mom despised my stepmother and my dad. And there were reasons why, but when my husband and I got married, we eloped. And when we came back, about a month later, we did a cocktail party. And I said to my mom, I said, we're going to do this cocktail party. We're going to celebrate. And she said, well, are they going to be there? And I'm like, yes, Dad and Rosalie are going to be there. And she goes, well, I'm not coming.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
That's
I
her
said,
choice.
don't come. I said, I'm not going to go down that path with you if that's what you choose. But one of the things, my mom is a really lovely, lovely woman. Like, I love her. But that anger, that jealousy, she never let go. And it's like a cancer. It erodes. Like, it almost takes away over time that beauty that we have. And so I remember seeing that with my mom. Like, when I would go to my dad's on weekends and I come back, she'd be like, how was your time? Like, there was always this edge to it. And almost you get to a point where you're like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to mention it. Right?
But again, like I think that holding on to that anger, they feel like it's empowering, right?
Yeah.
But it's letting go, and it's hard because sometimes even if Kevin and I have a bit of a conflict of some sort, Kevin always is the one to come to me, give me a hug,
Oh, that's
and say I love you always, no matter how upset I'm making him because I'm upset or he has that ability to switch it and thinking and say to himself, give love.
And you can't?
I need time a bit more. I'm getting there, but I tend to like stew over things and repeat myself 100 times. But his action of doing that is helping me to do that more. But he will always, and I'm like, how can you just let it go? In my head thinking, how can you just let it go? This is serious. But it's not that he's not making it feel important, but he's able to park it, give me a hug, say I love you, and it's like, okay, let's go for a walk. I'm like, huh?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I think I'm like Kevin. Because I'm
Yeah.
like that too. And part of it is I don't like conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not someone who can just like, okay, let's let this go and we'll talk later. Like it will make me feel nauseous. Like
Mm-hmm.
I need to fix it now.
Well, yeah, the let's talk about it later is not good. Like you
No.
need to talk about it then, because
Yeah.
shoving things under the carpet, they just don't get addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
my upbringing. Just quiet, hush, hush. Don't
Yeah.
talk about stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my words or what you call motto?
Mantra.
Mantra. Well, I think
Sorry, I should have asked you that.
no, you did ask
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
yeah. So I think for me, I think it'd be kindness, but if it's a mantra, but what I said earlier, like I am where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a conflict, if it's upset about something, if I say I am here, this is where I need to be to get to where I want to go, because I feel that anything that's happening is happening to either A, for me explore myself more, the relationship more, just steps to get to the next step.
Yeah.
Huh? That makes sense. That doesn't make sense. But you
No,
get
it
what
does
I
make
you
sense.
get what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And I'll
does
just
make
say that to
sense.
myself. Like coming here, I was in that traffic.
That's right. You were stressing.
I was
out.
so stressed. And my grade 8 teacher said to me, punctuality is a hallmark of one's character. And I remember that stuck with me. So being late causes me a lot of anxiety. I'm on the phone with you. You're saying, let it go. It's okay. But in my head, I don't know how to let it go, because I said, I'm going to be here by 2:45 and I'm in traffic. And I said, after I hung up the phone with you, I said, okay, I'm here. It's exactly where I need to be. I'm in traffic. It's teaching me something. Let it go.
Yeah.
So that's my mantra.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you hope for this show?
Be completely transparent.
Mhm.
I wanted to have millions of viewers, subscribers. I would like us to have amazing sponsors to support us.
Yeah.
I would like us to have incredible guests, and we have some amazing ones coming up.
Yeah.
And I want to continue loving it the way I love it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And
What
it's
about you?
I think the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I want this to do well. And the reason that I want to do well is that it brings me a lot of joy. I know it brings you a lot of joy also.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the service aspect of it,
Exactly.
I find I do get people reaching out to me and saying, I listened to your episode. I loved it. It makes me smile. Someone reached out to me a couple of days ago and said, you and MT are so adorable together.
Yeah.
And so I think that putting stuff out there in the world where we can possibly learn, grow. And I love the Me Too moments when somebody shares something and you're like, oh, me too. And you realize that you're not alone. And you realize that, okay, they're suffering like I am, or it isn't just me, right? So I think that
I never thought of it
all
that way.
of that you're saying, and also the sort of sprinkling on top is that I think that we're putting out something really kind and loving and special in the world, which is what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. And then in my lowest of lows, I mentioned I listened to certain podcasts that brought me comfort and companionship.
Yeah.
So if we can do that for all our subscribers or listeners, that would be incredible.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up,
Yeah.
in the show notes, we're going to have links to
Yes.
our YouTube and TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
It's all going to be there. We would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and like and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for MT and I to know how much we appreciate your love, your support, and that we want you to know that we think you are incredible and we feel very blessed to have you in this energy with us.
I do. And I just have to identify one thing.
Yeah.
You brought...
And you brought candy.
I brought the candy. Yeah. And the reason why I brought candy, because I always have it in my house.
Yeah.
And people who know me know that they come and they can have candy. So it's very welcoming.
Yes.
So I just thought I'd throw that in there.
sweet.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's candy and not chips.
Oh, okay. So I'm
'Cause
more
I
of a
can
candy person.
yeah, and I'm more of a chip person. Like, if that was
Okay.
chips, I'd be like, I don't think I'd be focusing on you.
Really? Okay.
I love potato
Yeah.
chips.
So you can't. Okay, you got it. Okay, so I
Yeah.
won't do that. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
so I love our little
Yeah.
visual.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, we're gonna say goodbye while we eat candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for my beautiful Italian co-host, ciao.
Ci vediamo.